And speaking of money spent on homeless services, last week we told you about Portland Street Response expanding. That's the unarmed group responding to non-violent calls when people are in some sort of crisis. Oftentimes, it's 911 calls involving those living on our streets. Well, City Council set aside $2 million in this year's budget for the program, and late last month passed a resolution to strengthen it, formally establishing it as an equal branch of the city's public safety system. It also ensures members are not used for homeless camp sweeps, commits to expanding the program 24/7 citywide, an effort that will take 2 years, and creates a community advisory committee. Now, the mayor has been praising the program since he took office. And well, after our story aired last week, we got some new data from the city about the program. Here's what stood out to us. From the start of this year to June 10th, Portland Street Response was called 5,902 times. Of those calls, they actually made contact with someone just under 3,000 times, so less than half. And let's break that down even further. Over 2,500 times the call was canceled because they couldn't find the person. And when they did find the person, 118 times, that person refused care. And over 2,700 times, PSR staff treated a person and then that person was released per PSR protocol. That part right there, the treating and releasing, has some people questioning what good that does, saying it doesn't solve or change that person's behavior. This week, I spoke with a Southeast Portland business owner. He says he's called 911, but has been sent Portland Street Response instead of police about half a dozen times recently. And this was for things like threats of violence from homeless people trespassing and drug use on his property. Now, you're going to see me, not him, because he didn't want to go on camera for fear of retaliation.
So when we call someone for help, and then we get sent the PSR, and they're there with a different priority that's not aligned with why we are calling for services.
And have you been happy with how Portland Street Response has responded to when they get there, or are you not happy with how they go about doing things?
I'm not happy at all because they probably are doing a good job from their point of view because they're trying to connect these people with whatever help they need. They give them water, blankets. They have little barista stands in their vans, and they make them coffee and tea. So we're calling for services to have this problem go away, and they come and they draw more people, hook them up with whatever, and leave.
And the data supports that. When looking at referrals as part of their aftercare program, 115 times PSR staff referred people to food, 30 times clothing and hygiene, and just 51 referrals for shelter. And again, more than 2,700 times Portland Street Response left the person right where they found them. I will add that part of this program expansion allows Portland Street Response to drive people to shelters, detox, etc. before they relied on cabs. But as always, that person has to want to go. But still, this type of response has forced that business owner to hire his own private security.
What does it mean when you call for services and you get sent them instead? What's the accountability process as far as, well, thank you, they came, and then I still need the services?
Now, for its part, Portland Street Response tells me the availability of resources and referrals has been a long-standing challenge for the program, especially after business hours and on weekends. They say it has been getting better the last few months when it comes to shelter referrals because of growing shelter capacity. Total referrals to shelter from initial PSR responses, not that aftercare number we mentioned earlier, is 201.